you drowning in debt? Are your credit card bills getting higher and higher? Are you tired of all those harassing phone calls, morning, noon, and night? Have you missed a mortgage payment or car payments? If you're experiencing financial difficulty, there's hope and help. Welcome to the Bankruptcy Hour. My name is Steve Jurnovoy. I'm here with my partner, Martin Lewis. We're from the law firm of Lewis and Jurnovoy, located downtown. Martin and I are going to be here for the next hour talking about Chapter 7 and Chapter 13 bankruptcy and any other kind of financial questions you may have. And Martin, welcome to another Bankruptcy Hour.
Stephen, it's good to be here. Always happy to answer people's questions, address their concerns regarding financial problems. I'd like to say hello to my wife and mom over in Mobile. I'm sure they're watching our show. Stephen, we've been real busy at the office. We seem to stay busy year in and year out. We finished off 2023, now it's 2024. You know, Stephen, people's problems, I mean, most of us just have problems year round, so it's nice to get a new year in and get a fresh start and fresh look at things. You know, hey, the beginning of the year is always a good time to reevaluate your financial position. I know a lot of people set goals, and maybe we should all set some type of goals for a new year. We are here to help people struggling or having problems paying your bills. We're just really a phone call away.
Yeah, Martin, you know, people struggle and they just try and, you know, go from paycheck to paycheck, month to month, you know, trying to pay everything and you know, trying just to live. And, you know, if you're in a situation where you've been doing this over and over again, you know, nothing's going to get better out there unless you kind of take charge. And that's what we're here to help you with, is trying to figure out a way out of your financial problems, whether it's credit cards, you're missing house payments, you know, maybe car payment problems. Well, whatever it is, they don't just go away, Martin. They get worse and they snowball. But, you know, when you're in that fight and you're trying to make payments each month, you know, you're not looking down the road a year, 2, 3 years from now. You just want to get to the next day and keep the fight going. But, you know, that fight's going to go for years and years and years. So if you find yourself struggling and you've been doing the same thing over and over again, you know, give us a call. Martin and I are here to help you. We're going to look over your financial situation. We have a free appointment to do that. And we're going to go through options with you. And our only goal is to help you out of your financial mess. And it doesn't matter how you got there. All we care about is let's see what we can do to move forward so that you can get off this stressful life.
Stephen, I think that's really good advice. And, you know, what you said about, hey, we need to go in, we need to take charge of our financial condition. And a lot of people, Stephen, they don't take charge of it. They're being bossed around by who they owe money to. They're being bullied by their creditors, and their creditors are marching them around. Oh, you got to pay me. You got to let me take money out of your bank account. If you don't pay me today, I'm going to take you to court tomorrow. I'm going to garnish your wages. I'm going to take your home. I'm going to take your car from you. So people are being bullied and bossed around by their creditors. We want to switch this around, and like Stephen said, let's put you in charge and let you be in control instead of all these folks that you owe money to, all these banks, credit card companies, collection agencies. Instead of them telling you how you should spend your money, no, let's switch this around and put you in the driver's seat so that you're in charge and you pay. Stephen, a lot of people, for instance, give out access to their bank account to their creditors. So sometimes the people you owe the money to are dipping into your account and taking your money even before you turn your lights on or eat food or pay your mortgage or something like that. So call our office, set up that free appointment, come into our office and let us help you be back in charge of your life. So again, you're not being bossed around by your creditors, that you're in the driver's seat and that you're going to dictate how your money is spent each month and not someone else.
Martin, what are some of the warning signs that if you start seeing 1, 2, or 3 of these, that it really means you have some kind of financial problems? And if you start seeing them, now's the time to come see us so we can work through it with you.
Stephen, one of them, of course, would be like telephone calls. So, I mean, if you're getting calls from debt collectors, folks that say you owe money, hey, that's a warning sign that you're having financial problems. Maybe you're having to go borrow money all the time. You're always like, oh my gosh, I need to go borrow some more money. That's a warning sign that you're having financial problems. What if you're borrowing money just to use that money to go pay everybody else? That's a warning sign that you're having financial problems. What about if all your money is sucked out as soon as it hits the bank and you're like, oh my gosh, the only way to go buy anything is with a credit card or borrowing money? Again, another warning sign that you're having financial problems. Stephen, these get worse. I mean, another warning sign could be that you've actually missed payments on credit cards, a car loan, your mortgage. You're not able to pay these debts each month. Again, this is another warning sign that you're having financial problems. Maybe it steps up a little bit more and you're served legal papers. You've been summoned to go to court by one of your creditors or debt collector. That's another huge warning sign that you're having financial problems. Stephen, when we see these warning signs, and you don't have to wait till it happens, but gosh, if you have some of these warning signs, call my office, set up that free appointment, come in and sit down with us and see what we can do to help you out.
And Martin, it's important, the sooner that you can recognize that you have problems, maybe you can cut off or avoid having to do some type of bankruptcy. But, it's there, Martin, you were talking about how, if you start making these payments to the creditors or they're taking money out of your bank account, well, they're taking the money that's supposed to go to your mortgage payment. And a lot of times, the money's coming out, you can't pay your mortgage, and you say, okay, well, I'll make up for it next month. Next month rolls around, same thing happens. They pop your bank account, you can't make the mortgage payment, and all of a sudden the mortgage company's not going to take any more payments. They want 3 mortgage payments at the same time, or it's over. And that's how people start to get into problems with their house, and that's not the way it's supposed to be. It's we're supposed to be able to pay our necessities first, and then whatever's left is basically what's going to go to these other creditors. But that's not the way it is in the real world without any kind of bankruptcy protection.
That's right, Stephen. Stephen, a lot of people feel good because they're paying their debts each month, and I get that. It feels good to be able to pay and to make your payments, but a lot of people are just paying and paying and paying with not knowing if ever they're going to quit paying. We'll see some people come into the office, maybe they have 10 or 15 credit cards, and they all have balances. And they're like, well, we were doing good. We were making payments on all of this. But it's like, were you really doing good if you've got 10 or 15 credit cards and they all have balances? To me, the answer is no, even if you were paying on them. I mean, why do you have to go borrow so much money on credit cards and have all these monthly payments? It's another warning sign.
Right, and it goes back to what you said earlier, Martin, that people are using their credit cards because they run out of money. They're buying necessities on it.
Right.
And that's how the balances go. And yeah, we have people that have all this kind of debt with 15 credit cards, may owe 40, 50 grand. Your credit report may look great because you can make the minimum payments. You need money, you go hawk the title to your car, you get the internet or payday loans just to be able to feed the monster, but you're not getting anywhere. And that's the key, Martin. Your credit report may look great, but if you can't get rid of that $40,000 or $50,000 of debt, I mean, that's going to be there, and it's going to eventually snowball on you. So. And the only reason your credit's good is because you're robbing Peter to pay Paul to get all these bills paid.
Stephen, we see people sort of payment themselves to death. You just got so many payments that pay, and then there's no money left. And you're like, oh my gosh, I still gotta eat, I still gotta turn my lights on. So now what? You gotta go borrow more money. So this creates this cycle when you've got so much debt and all your money is sucked out that you still have to have purchasing power each month, which ends up creating more debt.
All right, Martin, it looks like we're going to have to take a break. When we get back, we're going to start talking about Chapter 7 and Chapter 13 bankruptcy. Call the office, set up a free appointment if you'd like to come in and go through your options with us. We're always glad to help, and we'll be right back.
Some attorney ads are really over the top, within-your-face concepts.
Not this one, because there's nothing exciting about bankruptcy law.
But if you're struggling with credit card debt, medical bills, student loans, repossession, or mortgage payments, you'll want to hear this.
Lewis and Jurnovoy has helped thousands of people with financial problems for over 20 years.
We may be able to help you achieve financial freedom, and that is exciting.
Call Lewis and Jurnovoy today for a free consultation.
For some, serving means deploying overseas to make the world a safer place. But for many men and women in the National Guard and Reserve, serving happens closer to home.
The vast majority of New Orleans, Louisiana is underwater.
We're starting to get some reports of fire in Paradise.
Wherever you served, you've earned the right to mental health support. Go to BeThereForVeterans.com to learn how VA supports members of the National Guard and Reserve.
Welcome back to the Bankruptcy Hour. I'm Steve Jurnovoy, and I'm here with my partner, Martin Lewis. We're from the law firm of Lewis and Jurnovoy, located downtown, and Martin and I are here talking about the financial problems that people along the Gulf Coast are experiencing and some of the solutions we may be able to help you with. So, you know, we were talking right before the break, Martin, about warning signs and, you know, come see us, and how people, you know, are really struggling out there. And I do have an email from one of our followers that said, you know, I guess the first part of your show really hit me, because that's exactly what's happening to me. I'm making payments, but I'm really struggling, and the money's going out before I can make my mortgage payment, and I'm 3 months behind on my mortgage payment. How can you guys help me with that?
See, what a great question, Stephen. And I mean, you know, people are out there trying to do what they consider the best thing to do. But what we see people doing is that they do what's best for who they owe money to, and not necessarily what's best for them. And so you'll hear us say over and over, you shouldn't pay a credit card over your mortgage, and that by paying out all these credit cards and other debts, it could result in default on your mortgage, which is the email that we just got. In a case like that, if we can't get the mortgage caught up, we would maybe look at a Chapter 13 bankruptcy, which is a repayment, to help that person resolve their mortgage crisis. So that is a possibility. If that person who sent the emails watching, just call our office and set up that free appointment, because we'll sit down and go over that with you. Stephen, we see people from all walks of life. You know, it's just not one person or one group of people who has to file bankruptcy. I mean, just about anybody could end up in a bankruptcy case, young or old. You could be a student, you could be retired, you could be married, you could be a single person, you could be a wage earner, you may be self-employed, maybe you're a contractor for the post office, or you work over the road and you drive a truck or something, maybe you're working at a kiosk at the mall, or maybe you're a school teacher, work for the federal government, or maybe you work for the state of Florida. Stephen, we see all of these people in our office every single week having financial problems. So I know for those of you watching, sometimes we feel like, hey, we're the only ones. It's just me. I'm the only one who owes this money. No, it's not just you. There are millions and millions of Americans struggling to get their bills paid each month. And that's what we're here to help you do. Try and wrestle down your debt load and get you to a place where, hey, you can afford to live each month.
And yeah, Martin, you're right. You know, people ask, well, who's your typical client? And I say, well, it's you and your next door neighbor, because it really can be anyone. It doesn't matter how much money you make. People get into trouble for all kind of different reasons. And, you know, one of the things we found out, Martin, over the years, it's just not people running up credit card debt to go take vacations.
That's right.
And buy luxury goods. I mean, we usually find that there's some reason out there, maybe a job loss, could be a medical problem, maybe, you know, you became disabled, maybe you're got divorced and now you have to pay for 2 households. Maybe you're taking care of elderly parents or grandkids out there, and the bills are just piling up. But there's some event that triggers running into financial problems, and it could be, you know, you don't have health insurance and you had to go to the hospital for a day or two. Well, that about does it. You get popped with a $50,000 bill, and there's not much you can do about it. But these are the things that, you know, create situations that cause people to end up with financial problems, and some of them aren't even your fault. It just, things happen, and it's real life out there. In a perfect world, you know, we wouldn't be needed, but we don't live in a perfect world. We live in one where people get sick, people divorce, and people lose jobs.
Stephen, and this is really, bankruptcy is a consequence of these things. So nobody wants to grow up and go file bankruptcy, right? But it's a mechanism that our country created to help catch people so that you don't have to be burdened with debt for your whole life, really from unforeseen consequences, like Stephen said. So these things happen to us during our lives. They put us in a position that we can't pay our bills, and then we end up going through a bankruptcy. Stephen, one of the great things about bankruptcy, besides it getting you out of debt, is most people don't have to go in and tell their story. So the bankruptcy court knows why people are there, but you don't have to go in and tell the bankruptcy court, oh, I got cancer, or I have to raise my grandchildren, or job loss. No, they really don't ask you all of that, which is a good thing. So people don't have to go out and shed everything to the court. They just said, hey, either you got the money or you don't, and if you don't, maybe you should be in bankruptcy and clearing out this debt load.
And, you know, Martin, bankruptcy has this negative connotation, but, you know, when you break it down, the reason there's bankruptcy code and bankruptcy out there, the law out there, is because the government and Congress realized that they needed a mechanism to put you back in charge of your life when things happen, unexpected things happen, and, you know, financially you have problems. They realize that you're more important than all these creditors, and they want to put you back on top that says, okay, let's get your house paid, let's get the car paid, let's get the utilities paid, put food on the table, pay for insurance, and then, you know, whatever's left, you know, it can go to the creditors. But, you know, that's what the bankruptcy code's there for, to take care of you and your family first, and then the rest of your creditors afterwards. And as Martin opened the show, that's not what happens in the real world. You get sucked into the real world, and what goes out first? All the creditors threatening you, and, you know, why are they doing that? Well, they want their 30% interest, which is kind of ridiculous on the credit cards, but that's what happens, and all that money gets sucked out before you can pay your utilities and other necessities. In the bankruptcy code, whether it's Chapter 7 or Chapter 13, whichever one it is, it's meant to put you back at top so that you can, handle all your necessities.
Stephen, and people skimp on themselves. So when you owe money, you're like, oh my gosh, maybe I just have to pay this. So instead of 3 meals a day, I'm going to eat 2 meals a day. Or maybe I'm going to eat 1 meal a day. Or it's in the winter, it's really cold out, but I'm really not going to turn my heat on. Or maybe I'm not going to go see the doctor. Maybe I'm going to skip medicine and take it every day or every 3 days so I can prolong my medicine and don't have to buy it as often, and again save money. So what's going on? We're skimping on ourselves so that we can pay back these debts. Just like Stephen said, these high interest rate credit cards and all these loans, they don't care anything about us. They don't care whether we make it or keep our lights on or go see the doctor or take our medicine. All they want is their money. But the bankruptcy laws say, hey, just like Stephen said, you're more important than the banks that you owe the money to, so we have to put you first and look at your situation. And for a lot of people, Stephen, when we run through people's budget of what it costs you to live each month, your mortgage, your rent, utilities, food, clothing, insurance, medical maintenance, gas, these are basically your necessities. A lot of people don't have any money left. And so they end up, again, in bankruptcy, and we get rid of all that excess debt that they couldn't pay anyway.
So, Martin, when you think about it, in chapter 13 we started talking about, with trying to help someone save their house, and it really works great. So, our example, someone had just emailed us a question. They were 3 months behind on the mortgage, and let's say you're down $10,000 on your mortgage. You're not going to be able to pay that all at once, or you would have kept up with it. So now you can't come up with the 10 grand. You want to keep your house. We can do chapter 13, which is the repayment plan, and put that $10,000 in this repayment plan and let you pay it back over a 5-year period and get you started on your mortgage payment again. And people may say, well, I'm having trouble making my regular mortgage payment. How am I going to do all this? Well, not only can we spread out that past due mortgage payment in chapter 13, but it includes all your other debts. It's going to include credit cards, signature loans, maybe you have a repossession from a vehicle, maybe you owe back taxes or back child support, you owe some of those payday loans, but we're going to take all that, lump it together. And the great thing about chapter 13 is all those unsecured debts like credit cards and medical bills, you don't have to pay them if you can't afford to do it. This payment plan is based on your budget. So we're going to lump it all together. We're going to make sure enough gets paid in so that you can keep your house. And then what the government allows us to do and the law allows us to do is take care of your necessities first, like we just talked about. Here's your house payment, car payment, food, clothes, all the stuff you need to live. And then we're going to come down to the bottom line, and maybe there's $50 left. Well, that's going to go to your credit card companies. And if you were paying them $500 before this, and now you're only paying them $50, well, you got another $450 to use in your budget to help you make your house payment. And assuming that you complete your Chapter 13 case, at the end of this plan payment, all the rest of the credit cards will be wiped out. So it's a great result. You keep your house. We get rid of all this other debt, and we use the money that was going to fund all those credit card payments to help you make the house payment and put food on your table.
Stephen, we've been filing Chapter 13 cases for a long time, and Chapter 13's been around since the 70s. I haven't been filing them that long. It is a bankruptcy case. And one thing to note, or several things, that when you file a bankruptcy case, whether it's Chapter 13 or Chapter 7, it stops all collection against you. So this is why people go file bankruptcy, is to get what's called the automatic stay of bankruptcy. So if you're in a foreclosure, your mortgage company's trying to take your house away, you file Chapter 13, then under bankruptcy law, the foreclosure stops. Well, Bankruptcy law under either chapter stops foreclosures, garnishments, billings, telephone calls, any attempt to collect a debt once you go into bankruptcy is stayed or stopped once we file the bankruptcy. And this is why some people have to really go into bankruptcy court quick so that they can get the automatic stay of bankruptcy.
All right, Martin, it looks like we have to take another break. When we come back, we'll finish up our discussion on Chapter 13 and talk about Chapter 7. So give us a call at the office, set up that free appointment. Martin and I are always happy to meet with you and your family so that everyone can get the second chance they deserve. We'll be right back.
Animal Allies is looking for volunteers, and there are many ways that you can help. From taking care of cats to using your computer and social media skills, any and all assistance is greatly appreciated. We have morning and afternoon shifts every day or help at adoption events. You could even foster a kitty at home. And it counts towards community service hours for bright futures. Find Animal Allies Florida on Facebook and Instagram or go to aaflorida.org/volunteer.
Some attorney ads are really over the top, within your face concepts.
Not this one, because there's nothing exciting about bankruptcy law.
But if you're struggling with credit card debt, medical bills, student loans, repossession, or mortgage payments, you'll want to hear this.
Lewis and Jurnovoy has helped thousands of people with financial problems for over 20 years.
We may be able to help you achieve financial freedom, and that is exciting.
Call Lewis and Jurnovoy today for a free consultation.
Join the exciting world of television. Blab TV has an opening for an aggressive media consultant to help local businesses with their marketing needs. Blab TV pays some of the highest commissions in the market and provides the sales tools needed to succeed. I'm Director of Sales, Rick Wenzel. If you're an aggressive person who won't take no for an answer, send me your resume today.
Welcome back to the Bankruptcy Hour. I'm Steve Jurnovoy, and I'm here with my partner, Martin Lewis. We're from the law firm of Lewis and Jurnovoy, located downtown, and Martin and I have been here. We've been talking about Chapter 13 bankruptcy and how we can help save people's houses using that. Now, Martin, when's the ideal time to file the Chapter 13 when you're behind on the house?
So I think at any time, really, Stephen, the sooner the better you file the case, because when you go into default on your mortgage, they start adding fees. So you get late fees, so that's the initial thing. And then once you're 2 to 3 months behind, maybe the mortgage company is going to start doing drive-by inspections. So they're going to go by your house every 2 weeks. They're going to take pictures. And then they're going to bill that to your account. And then maybe at 3 to 4 months behind, they may go hire an attorney to start foreclosure. So normally they hire an attorney in South Florida, and then the attorney's going to tack on $2,000 of legal fees, $1,000 of court costs, $500 for title search, and maybe some other costs. So I mean, it could balloon. So it's best for the homeowner, for you, to resolve this as quickly as possible, because the longer it goes, the more expensive it gets for you. So really, you can call us. You can call us immediately. You don't have to wait to be served foreclosure papers. If you're 2 or 3 months behind on your mortgage, call us. Even if you're a month behind on your mortgage, call us and let us take a look at the situation, so maybe we can help you correct it before it gets worse. And well, what does that mean? Well, maybe we're going to go ahead and have you start shifting money around. So some people, Stephen, are behind on their mortgage because they're paying other debts. Well, maybe if we quit paying those other debts, we have the money to pay the mortgage, which is what we talk about a lot under Chapter 7 bankruptcy. So, but Stephen, we can file Chapter 13. It is set up to help people resolve their mortgage problems. Chapter 13 also helps people that are behind on their car payments, so we can redo a car loan. And it also helps people who can afford some type of payback, but maybe they just can't pay back the way they were paying back without a bankruptcy. So Chapter 13 gives us a lot of options. And if you go into Chapter 13, again, only certain people need to file this type of bankruptcy. We're going to look at your budget and try and, again, get you the best result possible, which fits into your ability to pay, not necessarily paying everyone back, but hey, what you can afford to pay and still have a basic standard of living.
And you know, even if you get foreclosure papers served on you, it doesn't mean you have to walk away from the house. So we can still do the Chapter 13 up until the actual sale date on the courthouse steps. So you know, but if you do get served, you know, get to us right away. Let's put a stop to this before it gets worse. And the other thing that happens a lot of times, the mortgage company will hire the lawyer, they'll file the foreclosure, and then you're calling them and, oh, can I work something out with you? And they try and work something out. And they say, all right, we need your tax returns and bank statements, and they keep moving closer and closer to that foreclosure date, and they're not giving you an answer. They're saying, oh, we need more bank statements, we need more pay stubs, we need your tax returns again because we lost them. They're just lining you up and stringing you along to get to that foreclosure date, and you're not going to get an answer from them. You can call them a day or two beforehand and, oh, you didn't qualify for anything. Well, you know, they just brought you right up until when your house is going to get sold, and you're kind of out of luck at that point. So don't trust the mortgage company. They hired the lawyer, they want your house back, and they're not about to help you at this point.
Stephen, I think it's a great point, because a lot of people, and this is normal, you're calling your mortgage company, you're like, I need help, what can I do? What are y'all gonna do to help me? And they're like, oh, well, we got all these programs. We got A, B, C, D, E, send us in A, B, C, D, E. And Stephen's right, you're sending in all this stuff and they're singing you the sweet song over the telephone about how they're gonna help you. And then they go hire lawyers and they tell the lawyers to foreclose and push it through. And on the telephone, they're telling you they're gonna work with you. Well, I mean, how do I know all of this? Because this is what our clients tell us. They'll come in and they've been in foreclosure for 8 or 9 months and about to lose their house on the courthouse steps in Florida. That's called the sale date, and they're a week out from the sale date. I'm like, well, why did you wait so long to come in and see us? They said, well, the mortgage company kept telling us they were going to work with us. But instead, what was happening, just like Stephen said, they strung them along all the way down to days before they lose their house forever, and then the bell goes off and like, oh my gosh, I need to go see a lawyer. Well, a rule of thumb is, if they got a lawyer, you definitely need a lawyer. And you should go get your own legal advice anyway and get someone who's going to stand in your corner, because the mortgage company a lot of times isn't going to stand in your corner with you, even though they're telling you they're going to. Stephen, it's a tough world out there. I mean, we offer a free appointment and we don't have all the answers, but we're here to try and help you, and we can help you wrestle down this mortgage issue.
Martin, your house is, you know, your most important asset, and you know, look what's happening out there now. Your house at this point is probably less than what it would cost you to rent a comparable, or not even a comparable place. The rents are going skyrocketing out there. And you know, your house could be a whole lot cheaper than you having to go rent. So we can try and restructure things using this Chapter 13 to make it easier for you to make that payment, and it works really well. So if you are struggling, you know, give us a call. Let's take a look at what we can do to make it easier for you. You don't have to just walk away from your house.
Stephen, I want to mention that again, the Chapter 13 allows us, if you're behind on your mortgage, to spread what you're behind over 3 to 5 years and force your mortgage company to start accepting your payment again. So people know what I'm talking about. If you default or behind on your mortgage 2 or 3 months, they quit accepting your payments. So this is a huge thing under Chapter 13 that we can use to help people save their houses. Chapter 13 has a modification program where we can go in and look at rewriting your mortgages, but the modifications today are at today's interest rate. So a lot of people still have 3.5% interest rates. So if you were to get a modification, you're going to lose that good interest rate and go up to 6%, which 25 years ago would have been a good interest rate. But when you're paying 3.5 and you got to go to 6 or 7, your payments are going up again.
And Martin, we use this a lot when people are really, really far behind on their mortgage. And you know, you may think it's crazy, but sometimes, you know, it's been a year, 2 years, 2.5 years behind on a mortgage payment, and you know, they may not be able to afford doing the catch-up method that we talked about, where we spread it out over 5 years, and this way we modify the home mortgage, just come up with a new mortgage payment that keeps you in your house. And yeah, you know, you may end up with a rate that's similar to what someone would get in the public market out there, but you get to keep your house, and it works well. So if you are really far behind, you know, don't just walk away. Come see us. Let's see if we can work something out for you.
Stephen, we see people on a free appointment. Call our office, set up the free appointment. You can come in with your spouse, your mom, your brother, your sister, your neighbor, your pastor if you want. Just come into the office and let us sit down and go over it with you and see if there's something that we can do to help you. We have an office in Pensacola, Panama City, Fort Walton, and Crestview. It's just 2 lawyers, me and Stephen. We travel to all the offices. We go to court with you. We attend all the hearings with you. We're with you through the entire case, whether it's Chapter 13 or Chapter 7. And again, it's a free appointment, so we have people come in on this free appointment every day. And not everyone needs to file bankruptcy, so we know that. But we're here to help. A lot of people, Stephen, they just don't have any place to turn to. They don't have anybody to discuss things with. So you come into our office, we're definitely going to give you clarity. I had a lady in just today about a business, and she didn't understand the fact that she had personally guaranteed all these business loans, and that, oh, she has a corporation and thinks she's protected from all this debt because she started a corporation, but then she signed personally. And we'll talk about this more into Chapter 7, but hey, get some legal advice. Come into our office, take advantage of that free appointment.
So Martin, not everyone, you know, needs to do Chapter 13 or could even afford it. And like you said a little earlier, sometimes by the time we get through with people's budgets, there's nothing left over anymore. And you know, that's where Chapter 7 comes in, which is the second type of consumer bankruptcy. And we use that all the time, and that's the bankruptcy that basically wipes out debts, credit cards, signature loans, repossessions, the repossession deficiencies. You can give back property if you can't afford it, and it wipes out the debt. All those loans you get on the internet can be wiped out. It can wipe out some taxes too, but it just, you know, clears the slates and lets you keep, you know, some of the things that you really want to keep, like your house, but you have to keep the house payment on it. Same thing if you have a car with the car payment, you want to keep it. Got to make those payments, but it clears everything out that, you know, you kind of racked up over the years, and you know, you're paying monthly payments out on. So it's meant to wipe the slate clean, so that now you can concentrate on making the house payment, car payment, and your utilities without having to hit your credit cards anymore.
Stephen, the Chapter 7 bankruptcy is the most popular bankruptcy. I mean, that's what most people file in the country when they have to go into bankruptcy, not some type of repayment. This Chapter 7 case, I mean, it's just incredible that you could be in debt for years, decades. In a matter of months, you go into the bankruptcy court and all the debt is gone. It's like a new lease on life. And I know, you know, and again, we hear this from people every day. I don't want to file bankruptcy. I made these debts. I want to pay these debts. And that's typical for everyone, and we get that. But hey, the law says you're more important than the banks and the credit cards. And if you've got limited funds, then maybe you should go file bankruptcy and get rid of these debts and get out of debt so you can afford to live within your means each month. These laws, Stephen, they're designed to help people. The bankruptcy laws are there to help give you what's called a fresh start. So you have sort of like a new lease on life. Stephen, most people under Chapter 7 just have one court appearance. And right now they're doing it over the computer. So a Zoom court hearing, which you can do at our office, or you can do on your laptop at home, or you can even attend your hearing on your telephone. In the old days, we'd all have to go over to the courthouse, but they've changed that. And so this is really a great thing, Stephen. I mean, you could be at work, and instead of having to take all this time off to go attend a court hearing and go to into the courthouse and through security, instead now you can go take a 10-minute break, go sit in your car and attend your court hearing and go, boom, right back to work and not miss a beat and get out of debt at the same time.
So it works out great, and Martin, it really helps people also. It wipes out that debt. So if you were making that $500 a month credit card payment, you don't have it anymore, but you got that $500 you can spend to help you make the house payment or car payment. Looks like we're going to have to take a break. When we get back, we'll continue and finish up our discussion on Chapter 7 and talk about some miscellaneous topics. Call the office, set up that free appointment. Our phone number's on the screen, and we'll be right back.
I'm Emily Echeverria. I'm the Marketing Communications Director for Council on Aging of West Florida and the host of Coming of Age. In the past, Council on Aging has relied heavily on print and radio, but in the age of social media algorithms and smart devices, we know how highly prioritized and sought after video content has become. Our audience really responds to video content, and yours will too, especially the high quality of video that Blab produces. I'm Emily Echeverria, and I am Blab TV.
Is it time yet?
It's time.
Let's start time for dinner.
Oh, it's really good.
Donating pet food is one of the many ways you can help families in your community. Pets and people belong together. Learn more at petsandpeopletogether.org.
Some attorney ads are really over the top with in-your-face concepts.
Not this one, because there's nothing exciting about bankruptcy law.
But if you're struggling with credit card debt, medical bills, student loans, repossession, or mortgage payments, you'll want to hear this.
Lewis and Jurnovoy has helped thousands of people with financial problems for over 20 years.
We may be able to help you achieve financial freedom, and that is exciting.
Call Lewis and Jurnovoy today for a free consultation.
Hey, Bobo, do trees tell each other stories?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, why don't we go find out? Listen.
Can birds draw pictures?
I don't have an answer for that.
Dad, do stars visit their friends?
Look!
Welcome back to the Bankruptcy Hour. My name is Steve Jurnovoy. I'm here with my partner, Martin Lewis. We're from the law firm of Lewis and Jurnovoy, located downtown. And before the break, Martin, we were talking about Chapter 7 and how it, frees up money. You don't have all these debts to pay, and, it'd be nice if you could sit there and start a savings account, but it's usually really helps people with just their ordinary regular bills. And maybe at this point you can afford health insurance, you could use it for that. Maybe you could start saving for retirement or an emergency fund, or putting some money away so you can, when you need new tires on the car, it'll be there. But that's all available to you. You don't have your creditors harassing you, and people, it takes the stress off.
Stephen, I think that it's a great thing. I mean, you file Chapter 7 bankruptcy, it's like, well, it should free up money, right? I mean, you're trying to pay all this debt, and now you don't have to pay it anymore, and you're right. So now maybe you can afford 3 meals a day instead of 2, or you don't have to skip doctor visits, or you don't have to alternate days when you take your medicine, or maybe instead of paying your mortgage on the 15th every month and late, you can pay it on the 1st every month and be on time with it. So that's what we really call an opportunity cost. What else could I be doing with my money if I didn't have to pay all this debt? Nobody's really getting a windfall from filing bankruptcy, right? So, and then, Stephen, when you go into bankruptcy and you bankrupt these credit cards in these banks, the reality is they don't care. They don't come to court. They don't participate in it. And when the case is over, a lot of them will send you a new credit card and say, oh my gosh, we're so sorry you filed bankruptcy, but hey, let's get you back on the train again. Here's a new credit card with a $1,000 credit limit. I mean, this is what we see, and people are so stressed. I got to go into bankruptcy and bankrupt these credit cards. What's everybody going to think? Well, they don't think anything of it. As a matter of fact, they send you new credit after bankruptcy, and if these banks or these big companies had to go into bankruptcy, they wouldn't think twice about having to file bankruptcy.
Martin, what happens to people's property when we file a bankruptcy case?
Stephen, most people don't lose anything. So the bankruptcy laws give you allowances, what we call exemptions, to help you protect property, whether it's your TV or your microwave. You get to protect equity in a vehicle. Florida has unlimited homestead exemption. Retirement plans are protected, IRAs, 401ks, civil service, state of Florida, VA benefits, Social Security disability. All of these things are protected in bankruptcy, which means when you file the case and the case ends, you're still going to have all of this. I mean, you could have $200,000 in your 401k and file bankruptcy, and you're still going to have the $200,000 in your 401k. Stephen, we're always going to tell people if we see that they have something that's in jeopardy in bankruptcies, but for most people, they don't lose anything.
All right, Martin, now, you have financial problems out there, not sure, what you want to do. What are some of the things that people should not do if they're in financial problem and thinking about the bankruptcy?
There's a lot of things, but one thing is don't believe the internet. So, Stephen, there's so many scams, there's so many crooks out there, there's so many people that want to help us, but a lot of those folks that we dig out on the internet, whether it's a debt consolidation, a settlement, an investment scheme, a lot of them are crooks just trying to take people's money. Now, we're local attorneys, and we sit down face to face with our clients over and over and over again. We're not in South Florida, we're not in California, New York, we're not a law firm that's really a paralegal. We're lawyers that sit down with our clients, that live in this community with our clients and see our clients not only in our office but at the grocery store or other places around town, and we're proud of our work and what we do for people. But there's a lot of unscrupulous people out there that want to take advantage of you, and we see that, Stephen. People just turn in the wrong directions. Let me, besides the internet being a lot of crooks on it, people give out access to their bank accounts, so we think that's bad news if you're letting people in your bank account. Some people will go and get, right over to Alabama and hawk the title to their vehicle and get those types of loans. Those are all bad loans. People will get these what we call daily pay loans or weekly pay loans, where folks are dipping in your bank account every day and pulling money out. Again, these are all bad news, and there's some more things, Stephen, but I'll let you say some of them.
Yeah, I'll have a couple of them. So you don't want to transfer property to someone right before you file bankruptcy and think, I'm just going to go get it out of my name. If you do transfer something, it has to be for fair value, and it has to be on the, up and up. So if you have a car and you want to sell it, generally it's okay, but you have to sell it to a third party for, whatever the fair value on the market is for that. If if it's $10,000 and you sell it to them for $2,000, that's going to be a problem. You don't want to pay back relatives right before you're filing bankruptcy. I know that's hard, but that can come back to bite you. If we file your bankruptcy case, you may have to pay that money back, or they can go after your relatives at that point. A couple other things, Martin. I think maybe now with the way the mortgages and the real estate market is, that if you go to get a second mortgage to try and help you out, but you can't get everything paid off, a lot of times people will do that and then realize a month or two later, well, I can't get the rest of it paid off. I still have another 30 grand in credit card debt. I need to file bankruptcy. Well, now you're still going to be stuck with a second mortgage payment. We can get rid of the 30 grand, but now you got another payment that we could have gotten rid of. So, and it's the same thing borrowing out of a 401k plan. So before you do any of these moves, or you're thinking about it, come see us if you're thinking about the bankruptcy, because there may be ways that we do the bankruptcy case and then you can accomplish the same thing afterwards. But we don't want you running into any trouble by doing things that you may think are okay, but under the bankruptcy laws, that they don't look too favorably on transferring property.
And Stephen, some of the bankruptcy laws are a little bit quirky. I mean, but we've been in the bankruptcy cases for over 25 years, so we understand the bankruptcy laws. A lot of people will have a relative or a friend or someone weigh in on their situation. Let's say, oh, well, you need to go run up your credit card real quick, or you need to go get your car out of your name, or something like that. Don't take advice from friends or family. Most of them don't know what they're talking about. They're trying to be helpful. The best advice is going to come from a lawyer that understands the law. Again, my advice and Stephen's advice is going to always be geared for, hey, what's best for you in your situation? Not what's best for those that you owe money to, but what's best for you. But we do see people make mistakes before they come into our office, trying to manipulate certain things that creates a problem if we were to put them in bankruptcy one day. So take advantage of our free appointment and call our office and let us go over with you. Stephen, I want to mention, and I mentioned a little bit earlier, these internet scams. People are being scammed every day on the internet. It's also pushing people into bankruptcy. There's so many different scams, Stephen. It can start on your cell phone from a simple text that said hi, or maybe a package that Amazon says you've gotten. Maybe it's someone trying to friend you on Facebook. Maybe you're just looking around on the internet. Maybe it's a dating website you've gone to. The internet is full of crooks out there. I mean, it's just full of crooks, Stephen. They're trying to get into our wallets every day. We're bankrupting at least a person, maybe two a week, due to internet scams, where people are being taken for lots of money under false pretenses. And there's really very little recourse when you stick in money and stuff into something in the internet. That money's gone.
It happens out there and happens to a lot of elderly people. So just be aware of it. The other thing I wanted to mention, Martin, is we're running into a lot of problems with people co-signing loans.
That's right.
For a family member, maybe a kid, a grandkid, to get a car. And once you sign for that loan, there's no such thing as, you're second on the loan. You're on that loan the full 100%. So if it's defaulted, that creditor can come after you for the entire loan. And we see this all the time, and it doesn't mean your kid or grandkid's not good. Maybe they lost a job and they can't afford the car payment. So if the only way you should co-sign is if you can actually afford to make that payment. And Martin, we have plenty of people that do this, and then they try, and we had one the other day that went in to try co-sign for one of their kids. They went in to try and, refinance their house, and they were turned down because there was some slow pays on the car payment by their kids. And, that happens too, and it's, that's really a shame. But we see a lot of people in our office who have co-signed loans, and they're in our office because the primary person didn't make the payments, and now the creditor's coming after them, and this is the last straw. So just be careful out there.
And Stephen, people don't realize that, hey, this person's payments are going to show up on my credit report. So I'm basically turning over my credit report to my son or grandchild or something. You're right. This is exactly what happens. Stephen, all of our viewers should remember that the hiring of an attorney, it's an important decision. It shouldn't be based solely upon an advertisement. Before you decide, ask us to send you free written information regarding our qualifications and our experience.
Martin and I are here to help. Give us a call at the office, set up a free appointment. If you're drowning in debt, let's go over your situation, go over some options. Everyone out there deserves a second chance for a new beginning. So, let's get started. It's the new year. Let's come up with a game plan so we can help you out and make things less stressful. So, the United States Congress has designated our law firm as a debt relief agency to help people file Chapter 7 and Chapter 13 bankruptcy. So if you do need some help, our phone number's on the screen. Just give us a call and we'll be glad to help out.